As a sequel to House of the Dragon and prequel to Game of Thrones, A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms provides much-needed information about what happens between the two series. While House of the Dragon details the power struggle within the House of Targaryen as they sit atop the Iron Throne, Game of Thrones focuses on what happens after Targaryens have already lost that position. The vast universe created by George R.R. Martin can be confusing. It's full of people, places, names, and relationships that are often difficult to track. To understand how Martin's works fit together, it's important to get a look at the bigger picture. Game of Thrones is about a century after Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. When the show was announced, HBO offered a glimpse into Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. A century before the events of Game of Thrones, two unlikely heroes wandered Westeros, the young, naive but courageous knight, Ser Duncan the Tall, and his diminutive squire, Egg. Set in an age when the Targaryen line still holds the Iron Throne and the memory of the last dragon has not yet passed from living memory, great destinies, powerful foes, and dangerous exploits all await these improbable and incomparable friends. This places A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms at the start of the 2nd century AC. Game of Thrones begins in 298 AC, or 298 years after Aegon I Targaryen conquered Westeros. When A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms begins, Targaryens still rule with King Aerys I Targaryen as the 13th in the line to do so. Aerys becomes king in 209 AC after the deaths of his father, Daeron II, and grandfather, Aegon IV Targaryen. After Aerys dies in 221 AC, he's followed by Mycari, the predecessor of King Aegon V Targaryen, also known as Egg. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is 3 tales in one. There is no book by Martin called A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Rather, the story it tells comes from 3 individual novellas. Part of a dozen Martin has planned. These novellas are The Hedge Knight, The Sworn Sword, and The Mystery Knight. The Hedge Knight introduces audiences to Duncan, better known as Dunk. Dunk is a squire who assumed the role of a knight after the death of his patron, Ser Arlen of Pennytree. Dunk meets up with Egg, a young man who he makes his squire. Through a sequence of events, Egg reveals to Dunk that he's a member of the House of Targaryen named Aegon. It seems likely that the first season of A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms will focus on the first tale. The 2nd and 3rd novellas follow Dunk and Egg as they enter into the service of leading households, take part in uprisings, and make numerous enemies. Egg maintains his anonymity for the most part, but his dedication to the House of Targaryen and its long history in Westeros is tested several times. While the 2nd and 3rd tales are ready to go, writing the rest of the novellas is still on Martin's to-do list, via NJ.com. Before we reach the end of the published stories, I will need to find time to write all the other Dunk and Egg novellas that I have planned. There are, more of them than I had once thought. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is set decades after House of the Dragon. The first season of House of the Dragon features a Westeros ruled by Targaryens. King Viserys I Targaryen loses his wife and his male heir, leaving his daughter, Rhaenyra, as the next in line for the throne. Viserys remarries and then has a son with his second wife, a boy named Aegon II. Supporters of Aegon II and loyalists to Rhaenyra plunge Westeros into civil war. Dubbed the Dance of the Dragons, this contest for royal succession ultimately finds Aegon III in power. In the years leading up to Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, Westeros has had numerous leaders in the House of Targaryen, although it has not been a peaceful path. King Aegon III was followed by Aegon IV, and it is only later that Aegon V, who viewers will come to know as Egg, takes the throne. This happens in 233 AC. Why you should be excited for A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. House of the Dragon, the first prequel to Game of Thrones, was planned early in the production of that enterprise. When Ryan Condal was approached to be the showrunner for House of the Dragon, he initially had other ideas about a spin-off. Condal told IndieWire that he thought Knight of the Seven Kingdoms would fly because it was a great counterpoint to Game of Thrones. HBO didn't agree then but has since changed its mind. Martin seems happy about the decision as well. On his blog and per Screen Rant, Martin expressed support for the initial casting decisions. Peter Claffey will play Dunk. He's a former professional rugby player turned actor. And he's tall. Okay, maybe not quite as tall as Sir Duncan the Tall, but still plenty tall, and with the magic of television. His readings were terrific. I think you're going to love him. As Egg, we've cast Dexter Sol Ansel. Most recently seen in the Hunger Games prequel, but he's got an amazing amount of experience for his age. I am told he cannot wait to shave his head. Love that sort of commitment. His auditions were wonderful as well. Peter and Dexter. They should make one hell of a pair. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms is set to premiere in late 2025 on Max.